Huni is just a top laner now. Forget his name is Huni, forget all the things he did.
COD is a tough team to put your faith in, especially after what happened last year.
Cloud9, they haven't won the NALCS since 2014 spring.
Yeah, I know the person in the mirror is not a perfect one. I look at him every day and think he's not enough.
Meteos goes down, head up, dick are cut to pieces. They'll find even more disaster.
No quick silver sash. He is down. He is shut down.
There's so much that goes on in my head that what is he doing? See, you probably be terrified of my memories. Don't lecture me. Let me be, let me see, let me breathe. How they remember me doesn't alter who I am as a person and take my energy.
Hard days, cool nights, staring down at an empty cup like I'ma fill it up. All day.
He's back. Yeah, he's back, and so is Kled. Meteo's showing up now, trying to grab a little extra damage.
It's crazy what we do to climb it faster.
Meteos has still got it. TSM is marching down mid lane.
I know the feeling like everything that you deal with will never change. That's part of being a human. Yeah, that's what you make of it. Take it, embrace it, and take it and savor it. Ain't about what you did, it's what you became from it.
Hard days, cool nights.
The flash find at a 2. That was beautiful, Biofrost.
Get him up to 5, good luck. Okay. Yeah, get it.
C9 says not today. Team Liquid are your North American LCS champions.
Back-to-back sweeps. It's 3 LCS titles in a row.
Nobody can beat us. Zilla goes deep into enemy territory. A double kill over to him. Liquid will remain at number 1.
Welcome back to the LCS Countdown, where Clutch versus TSM is just around the corner, about 8 minutes to go. A couple of weeks ago, in our Road to Detroit, presented by Rocket Mortgage, we checked out some of the rides we expected to make it to playoffs. But one jungler felt we overlooked a reliable means of transportation, as Lyra, shortly after qualifying for playoffs, made just one single demand, which you can see here. And we have followed through. Yeah. We present to you the Clutch Mobile.
For you, Lira.
Yeah, I gotta ask a few questions about this.
All right, please talk
to Detroit. Are you really gonna ride all the way to Detroit on an ATV? Where are they? Are they? What is that, like Red Rocks in Vegas or something?
They're like
maybe
they're going through Zion National Park.
It's
all
about the
they've got maybe like 1,500 miles to go.
It might be bumpy sometimes. But
it's gonna be a bumpy ride.
It's got good shock absorbers.
Right.
All right, so a really good turning radius.
Exciting.
You can get around any debris in the way.
Sticking on the road.
It's a fun ride.
Tell me this isn't going to be the most eventful ride. To Detroit.
I mean, if he hops off the road to play playoff
You got the
teams.
wind in your face. It's different than any other ride.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's got its own selling points.
I hope Lyra sees this. I think Lyra's on stage. I don't think Lyra has any.
People purchase these. All right, well, one person confident in his matchup today is Huni, who touts his impressive record versus today's opponent.
In my career, I think I beat a lot versus TSM. I think I lost a lot versus TSM too. But the point is, like, the Clutch Gaming never had lost versus TSM at the playoff. That's what they said. I think it was only one game, but I don't know. Like, still, I gotta keep doing that. We believe each other. I gotta make it. I gotta make it for my fans, whoever's supporting the planet.
Well, Huni's predicting the win. He's got the confidence with that impressive win-loss that he cited, winning a number of games and losing a number of games against TSM. But with about 6 minutes to go, I want to get your predictions. So, first up, Crumbs, down the line, we're going to start with you. Who takes it? Oh, wait, I have to stop myself, because on the graphic first comes Amazing. You may have noticed. I have news for you. Amazing will be joining us for the post games of this series. So first, we will reveal his prediction, which is TSM, I believe, in a 3-1 scoreline.
Okay.
Although I don't necessarily want to misquote, so we'll let him.
I heard it.
But I believe it's a 3-1 scoreline. Now, Crumbs,
Thank you.
What do you got for me?
I'm going with a 3-1 scoreline as well, but it is for Clutch Gaming.
Ooh, okay. All right, you want to give a quick tagline for why that is?
Well, you see the trajectory of both teams, right? TSM is going to been this way, Clutch this way, and I think that we've now reached the point where Clutch Gaming is above
The inflection surpass. There it is, the inflection point.
Bow.
Next up, Jat, what do you got for me?
I have TSM more so because Clutch is 1-9 against playoff teams and 8-0 against non-playoff teams.
And they're playing a
We
playoff.
are in the playoffs.
All right.
So
well, yeah. So by
stats would
win-loss record, that dictates TSM. Mark?
TSM 3-1. We'll get into it.
We will. We will. Thank you for that promise, Mark. So here's some news leading up to this series. We already mentioned it. TSM's jungle situation. Spica is in. They have elected to bring no sub-junglers into the postseason. Instead, they've brought their academy bot lane to ride the bench and possibly play.
And this raises a ton of questions about the internal state of TSM, and I feel like that's the bigger question, more so than Spica, who in the 2 games, low sample size, but looked fine and wasn't going to be a problem for the team, any worse than any of the problems we had already seen with the Katie and Grig cropping up. So that's where I land, is more about the rest of the team and if they're actually good still, more so than if Spica can carry the weight.
Yeah, the fact that they were pushed towards this decision does point towards a picture that wasn't that great for TSM, but because Acadian and Grig were doing so poorly and Spica did perform well in Academy and looked pretty good in Week 9, I am less worried about this than I normally would be when a team subs in an 18-year-old jungler in Week 9. Because that's still a lot of worry, but less so.
I'm really worried about that.
Okay, talk to me.
You
should be worried.
You should be.
TSM is like the guy, your friend that comes every 2 weeks with a new girlfriend, say like, this is the one, man. I really found it again. I'm like, but we've seen it so many times. But you give him the respect because he's your friend.
Yeah, man, whatever makes you happy. I'm happy if you're happy.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah,
but you just know that 2 weeks from now, something else is going to come along. So I don't think that TSM has had enough time to really resolve the issues that plagued the jungler role. And if that wasn't enough, you have a Clutch Gaming that has been stepping up. I know that the point against playoff teams is actually a huge deal. Yeah. But if you look at how Clutch Gaming played against those playoff teams, it usually is that when they feel like they're up against a stronger opponent, they experiment a lot more. It's only against a very tough opponent where they'll bust out the Zed from Cody Sun, or will they'll try the Graves jungle, or will they put Huni on the Cassiopeia. When they go against teams that they feel like they are equal skill or better, they will always revert back to a more standard approach and get those wins. And I think that they have the confidence now to treat TSM like a team that they are better than, and therefore will revert to standard and will come out ahead.
Well, I think they're going to have to, because TSM has shown that they can beat Clutch. They beat them twice with 2 different junglers, both Acadian
Neither of which is playing.
Neither of which is playing,
game.
so bring out the third. And they did it with a pretty similar comp both times. It's a lane-dominant bot lane for the most part, with Gragas to gank for it and a TF to make it work. And then on the top side, you kind of just pick whatever's a good matchup into Huni, because Broken Blade can handle him. And that's kind of the blueprint that TSM has laid.
Yeah, I rewatched both these games last night, and it was interesting to me because I felt like TSM actually looked a lot better in these games than they did the last couple of weeks. Specifically the TF Yuumi game. They're making a lot of TF Yuumi plays. Like, wow, look at the coordination. You could see this going somewhere. That's not what they look like.
Yeah, I mean, and a big part of that is the bottom lane. The bottom lane of TSM has been so inconsistent. Even in matchups against Optic, I remember showing that matchup and previewing it and saying that, well, the Optic bottom lane is going to have a pretty big advantage. And they found solo kills. And you're up against now Cody Sun and Vulcan, who Cody Sun has not died in the last 5 games, and Vulcan's got a lot of picks that actually are really well into what is meta right now. They'll Leona into the Rakan. So I think that right now, the bottom lane of Clutch is actually going to be a huge point for them to win this series.
Yeah, and I agree with you in the fact that over the past 3 games, they've looked great. Even the last 5 games where 4 of the 5 of them have been against non-playoff teams, they've looked great. The question just to me continues to be whether or not Clutch can show that level of performance against slightly better opponents. TSM is towards the bottom end of playoff teams when you consider them coming in at 4th place. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this can keep up.
Clutch is 1-1 versus Optic. So the question is basically, has TSM become Optic level? Because Clutch can be
worse, right?
Or worse, right? Or has Clutch improved a little bit more to get over that point?
Or Clutch can actually, you can improve throughout the split, even if they've only beaten the teams below them and lost to the teams above them.
Well, I think what's exciting about this is that it actually does feel like a very close quarterfinal matchup. Yes, there's a 4 and a 5 seed, and it should be pitted as one of the closer of matchups. But even in our discussion here, it seems like both sides can see breaking points for both sides.
It's a lot about unpredictability, too. It's close because you have no idea what's going to happen. A 3-0 for TSM or a 3-0 for Clutch, in hindsight, you can go back and be like, all the signs were there.
Right.
And you could be so easily right.
All right, well,
should have known.
Yeah.
For TSM, they're taking a stab at something with bringing in a new jungler for the postseason. For Clutch, they're just looking to drive it home and get that upset victory. With it, we're going to toss it out to the Battle Arena for the call.
Thank you very much, Dash. Welcome to the Battle Arena for the beginning of the LCS 2018 Summer Quarterfinals. I am David Freak Turley, ready to get into the postseason with Sam, Kobe, Hartman, Kensler, and Isaac Azale Cummings-Bentley on the far side. How you doing?
Very well. doing great. I'm excited. You know, it feels crazy that playoffs have already arrived. Definitely ready to get going.
It's that time of year again. Super excited here. We got Clutch versus TSM once again meeting in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
This is definitely an exciting rematch, as I know TSM was super upset they got knocked out last time they faced Clutch in the quarterfinals. And as we heard from Huni, it gives the players, you know, even new players to the organization, a lot of hope going up against TSM.
Yeah, and that was really kind of the start of troubles for TSM, right? You know, before that, they had always made finals every single time. Clutch was the first team to ever stop them from getting to a finals appearance. And now TSM here, looking for some revenge against them and looking to move on to Detroit.
I like the jungler support sign, especially in the crowd that we saw.
We support Greg. I mean Acadian. I mean Spica.
Yep. I like it. Just continue the support for whoever's is on stage.
I support Kobe and Azale, and we have ourselves into this one. Of course, a new lineup for Clutch since we saw them a year ago in playoffs, and hoping that they can continue to look very good here. TSM dropping lots of aggressive picks away from Huni specifically. If you heard the hype video come into quarterfinals, I forget who Huni was. I think he is back to being that aggressive top laner who can be very dominant, and they banned 3 champs away from him.
So it was actually a Yuumi ban. That is banned out. This is just a graphical error. So Clutch did ban all 3 champions. That is Sona, Ezreal, and Yuumi. That has been banned out by them. And a lot of kind of solo lane focus there. When you think of the Tristana, Huni certainly someone who could bring that out. Rumble as well has been his go-to pick. So, you know, trying to target Huni in the draft.
Yeah, I like how both teams have very clear draft strategies coming into this game. On the side of Clutch, of course, they're targeting the TSM bottom lane. And Zven has made some critical errors in some very big games for the team. So they're trying to whittle down on that champ pool and make him as uncomfortable as they possibly can. Here we go, though. Quick lock-ins already. And it is going to be the Gangplank for Clutch in answer to Akali.
Now, this would be really interesting if TSM does go to Xayah Rakan, you know, as you are expecting Rakan to get paired with this. Vulcan, as we talked about, actually brought out Leona as an answer to this, I do believe, last week. So, you know, certainly has the ability to go that route. Would be pretty exciting to see him bring that out here in playoffs. But the question is, you know, if you grab your support now, then maybe you're getting pushed down in the AD pool. So they will be locking in the Sivir instead, which is going to work great with the Skarner that they already have.
All right, well, they've got the late game damage output here. I think it's been one of the calling cards for Cody Sun is safe farm, good CS numbers, and late game insurance. I've liked that role for him. Sivir fills that one quite well. I think it's a good early draft year for Clutch Gaming, right? Huni's on big damage, Lyra's on a very strong tank, and Cody's on his calling card.
They do have a lot of possibility for scaling up for big damage output later in the game. We'll see if TSM tries to get an early game jungler for Spica, because I think jungler interaction is going to do a lot to determine the way that this entire series will unfold. And with Lyra showing his Skarner already, it does mean they're locked into that tank front line.
Also worth mentioning, the Xayah pick here is a good takeaway from Cody Sun, though, because while he has been playing, you know, a lot of varying scaling marksmen, the Xayah has been his most played by far. You know, 6 picks. The next most pick was only 3 plays. So, you know, certainly strong dual lane for TSM, gives them some power down there, but also a denial of 2 of the most popular picks for Clutch Gaming.
Absolutely important right there. So the final picks and bans come through. 1 jungle ban levied here at Spica, who's only shown us 2. It's been Sejuani and Jarvan, and the Jarvan the only one actually removed here, so can easily go to a comfortable pick for him and still be a tanky frontline for the squad.
You kind of have to feel like, you know, Sejuani is being left up very conspicuously. You know, it almost feels as though there must be some sort of a plan, or that they don't feel that, you know, Spica is going to be comfortable to match some of the early game, perhaps coming out of Lyra, you know, if they're leaving that open. But, you know, it's been such a consistent pick early on in the draft that it is surprising to see it get all the way down here into the second pick phase, unpicked, unbanned.
Well, Sivir at least can spell shit on Reflex, but I agree, it's interesting. I mean, I think about it a little bit, and a lot of these champions do have ways of getting out of Sej ults. You think about Gangplank and Sivir specifically. So that might be part of it, is, yeah, we know you're going to do this, but it's okay. Our picks are set up for this kind of situation. Right, the Jarvan locks them both in. Sejuani at least thinking out of the ulti. So I can see that being the logic. I think it's clever if that's indeed what they're going for. Nautilus locked in here for Vulcan in his first playoffs ever in the LCS. And gets, of course, a nice engage in the bottom lane, pairing up with Skarner from Lear for that. And there's, of course, the Sejuani.
Yeah, I think no surprises. The tankier members getting locked in here at the end. Both teams looking at those 5-on-5 fights towards the midsection of the game. Guaranteed engage here. Whenever you have Skarner, it's really important to have some other form also for engage. Now they've got Nautilus ultimate towards the fight. Meanwhile, on the side of TSM, yep, now they've got their own guaranteed engage.
Yeah, this is the Gangplank counter pick. This is actually such a strong early matchup into GP. You can bully and really take over, but there is the potential to actually swap things around and even put, you know, Karma top potentially. Likely will be Karma mid. The tether, you know, interaction working very well against Akali these days, actually revealing you in the Shroud. So this will be last pick Karma here, rounding out the composition. Certainly built here, it feels like, around Cody Sun to support and speed up him. You have speed up with the Monster Shields for the Skarner, as well as that Sivir ultimate for your front line to engage.
And my eyes for the early game are definitely going to go towards the top lane here. Broken Blade for TSM on the Kled. It is definitely a viable strategy. Try and dive Gangplank early. Kled can even stack up Sejuani's passive so fast with the vicious strikes. You basically instantly get off that stun, and even though Gangplank can eat the oranges to get out of 1 CC, there's multiple in this duo.
Yeah, and the bear trap on the rope, you know, if you hit that second part, you will actually be putting the healing debuff on there, so you're not going to get as much healing out of the oranges. And you have to remember that Kled's dismount is a turret aggro drop, so that can be extremely powerful when you are looking for dives, you know, a la how Elise does it and these sorts of champions. You have to think that Clutch knows they're going to be going after Gangplank, though, and trying to be up there to protect.
And that is very scary heading into the first game of a best of 5. If you mess up an early tower dive, that can be very detrimental to the mentality of the team heading in.
Next few hours of game is going to be important right here. A best of 5 to determine who places the top 4. Clutch, if they want a postseason, must win this or their year is over. TSM have a history of being the best team in North America, and foibles in the regular season have not stopped them before. It's time to hit the Summoner's Rift. Here we go, game 1 of the quarterfinals.
Summer has been quite the journey for both of these teams. As you can see on stage for Clutch, now wearing new colors as well with the black and yellow. And for TSM, a lot more struggles than they thought.
Yeah, I mean, TSM coming off of, you know, a near MSI performance. You know, they were 1 game away from taking down TL, got reverse swept, but it seemed like things were going to be even better coming into summer, you know, ramping up, building upon what they had, you know, learned and kind of improved upon in spring, but it has not yet been the case. But we do have to remember that TSM has had seasons like this before where they were not performing at their best during the regular season, and they seem to peak at the right time during playoffs and sometimes make finals anyway.
Well, in their hopes of making the postseason happen, they've updated the coaching staff. We've got Avali standing by with Peter from TSM.
Thanks, guys. I am here with Coach Peter. Wanted to pick your brain. We saw Spica being announced as your starter for playoffs, and also the addition of Treats and Tactical as your subs. Want to find out what was the decision-making behind that, especially when we're entering quarterfinals of playoffs, when it seems like a huge risk?
It's a hard decision. I think all the 3 junglers we have has been great, but just based on the scrim result and the stage performance, we think Spica might have a better synergy with us. That's why we choose him.
And was that decided after week 9?
Yes.
And I want to ask you, what do you think about Clutch Gaming as an opponent? Because this is a team that, with Huni and with Cody Sun and Damonte, you feel like they can really pull anything out against you.
I mean, I have been with Damonte and Huni. They are definitely great players, but I don't think they're on the level with Bjergsen and Broken Blade yet.
I appreciate the confidence. Best of luck to you and the team. Back to you guys.
And for people who don't know, Peter Zhang has actually been in the LCS and in the Academy Leagues for a very long time. Spica on stage, we interviewed him after his first week of games, gave so much credit over to Peter specifically for teaching him a lot and getting him ready for these LCS stage games. And they're paying that confidence back.
So something we have to really touch on is this is a lane swap. Huni and Damonte have actually swapped lanes to avoid that Gangplank into Kled matchup. And one of the things you can do is actually utilize the Karma in the early game to try to deal with this Kled. Then once GP is a little bit stronger, once you have enough wave clear, you have some items and levels, you can match up against Kled just fine. It is much more of that early game counter, and you can see Broken Blade even going press the attack, which is more for the lane in the early game burst to try to potentially get those solo kills.
Yeah, super valuable as well because Karma with the AP threat makes you think twice about your itemization for lane as well. So Damonte and Huni working well together as they've played together on multiple teams now is actually very important. And to be flexible as solo laners, as we've seen in multiple international competitions, is mandatory. Here we go, though, with the invade on bottom side due to the pushing of the TSM duo.
Yeah, it's also worth noting that this is not a Klepto Karma, as we normally see top. This is actually Airy, which is more about team fights, as well as the poke in lane. And getting Kled dismounted really is your goal. Once Kled is dismounted, if he's not able to actually get in range to get a quick remount, it becomes extremely dangerous to stay in lane.
Well, we got a fight up the top side right now as Damonte is trading blows with Broken Blade still mounted. There's plenty of damage up. A few models might do it. Empowered W gets some health back up though, and Damonte forced to dismount out. He goes as Skarner runs away.
And that is just really good timing, honestly, from Broken Blade. Right before the dismount, he had his W up, and you go in for that aggressive trade. Even if Damonte dismounts you there, he's going to have to spend the rest of his damage to do it, and you should be able to get the remount. So that is how you want to play out these types of matchups. You have to get in your opponent's face.
On the other side, I also like how Damonte does not panic. A lot of people, when you see Kled, especially activating the Vicious Strikes, you get a little bit scared with the burst damage that can come out, but Karma can rely on the heal off of the tether as well as the shield coming back up with the cooldown. So Damonte does not panic, does not waste a summoner spell due to that all-in. And now, though, it might open it up to some jungler interactions here as both junglers post-level 4 do have their flashes available. We also have a Predator early purchase here from Lyra on the Skarner, you can see. Adds a lot more threat early game.
Yeah, you can see Damonte took like a small moment where he's like, should I flash over the wall? But, all the damage was done. He calmly backs away, does get out of there. And, it is going to be itemizing pretty heavily for lane. Double Doran's very strong as laning items, giving you that early game power. And I'll be interested to see where Broken Blade does elect to go. If it is just going to be towards Tiamat, I think that is probably the build we will see. Against some of these ranged matchups. Often, one of the best ways to actually avoid the poke is just to be able to quickly clear out the wave with Tiamat and your Qs, and then be able to look for potential roams or grouping up with Spica.
As you see, minions getting cleared array in the bot lane. We can take a look at how all the different lanes are going. Bot lane so far has been TSM favored. They took the early pick on Xayah Rakan. We know it's a very strong duo, and they're indeed up quite a bit of farm as a result, about 6 right here. But in the other lanes, it's been very much clutch gaming. You saw TSM first pick the Akali. First game for your Bjergsen or Broken Blade, it would have been this game, and immediately after the Gangplank to be a counter pick. Then you see the Kled, and Karma comes in to be a counter pick, and they matched the lanes the way they wanted. So Clutch winning in both solos, up as a team several hundred gold.
Yeah, Huni has used the first teleport as well to get back to lane on Gangplank. He's trying to keep up his pressure here. Now to level 6, he is the target of the first possible gank.
Well, damage towards Huni. His forced to flash away. If that knockup was there, could have been enough follow-through. Steps now, Summoner Spell down. Huni has to be defensive now in this lane.
Yeah, very respectful, honestly, flashing that. Did have his ult. Lear was behind him, but, didn't want to risk getting actually stunned up by the Sejuani.
Yeah, you have to be so careful. Can't eat your oranges and get out of the knockup. And then Sejuani will have 2 stuns ready with the passive locked up. Looks like we're not going to have a fight quite yet over the river unless Spica base checks.
Oh, he's going to get rooted up into place. Huni's near around, but again, no flash. The Gangplank goal comes down, decent damage. Out they go. TSM running away. TP's coming across over the squad. First blood again for Kled Gaming, and they've got now Broken Blade right in the middle of this all. Looking for damage on a Huni. 2 more autos will do him in. Bjergsen claims a trade kill, 1 for 1 in the mid lane.
Yeah, nicely done trading back there, but it is first blood going to Clutch onto Spica. The quick teleports, though, from TSM really paying off. Zven even, TPing. We did see Broken Blade very fast on the TP to join in, and TSM on that collapse allows them to fight back.
Yeah, you can see it's the first game of a best of 5, first game of all of playoffs in summer here in the LCS. Everybody is just waiting for the first play to break out. And Spica, you can see why he goes up to this brush. They have the ward up on the top side. By the movement on Huni, they were a little bit suspicious. So that's why everybody's ready. They all teleport in. Spica tries to flash away. Bjergsen goes back in for that execute. Barely couldn't kill Huni there, but they end up getting him later.
Yeah, and now another fight down on this bottom side. Smoothie here pretty low. Lyra has been spotted, but Spica is in the area. This is not a fight they're going to want. You can see, Lyra already is 6, but Sejuani does have 6 as well. Clutch have the HP advantage, though, so they should be safe to just push this out. I think Spica's mostly just staying around in case of any potential aggression, but now freezing this wave, they're actually trying to bait Clutch to go in.
Land the Q, bit of a knock up there, but low health on the Vulcan's got to be careful. Not quite rooted, but the health bar is still very low. The flash follow, and Zven finds himself the kill in the 2-on-2.
Bait successful as TSM with all the minions taunting with the low health bars, and Spica waiting around for the play. That's some coordination with the new jungler that TSM want to see on stage.
Yeah, that was a really smart move. Just that small freeze, lets them know that Clutch can't actually reset there. They'll mess up their wave completely. They'd be losing a lot of farm. But you don't have to fully commit to this. Vulcan, instead of just trying to push it out, does hard commit to it with the hook.
Yeah, he takes that bait, hook, line, and sinker all right in onto Zven. Then Smoothie's there. They have the shield and knock up. They know that they've been had here. Vulcan immediately flashes out, but it's too late. Cody Sun can't deal any more damage. As you can see on the pop-up here, though, they're going to try and get the dragon on the reset. This is all because, if you see on your mini-map here, it was a reset for the TSM bottom lane. They're heading back from base. Can't do anything about it, and that will be a Mountain Drake to start it out on the side of Clutch.
What's funny to me watching this game so far is everything is going according to the stats heading into the matchup. You look at first blood rates, Clutch Gaming is higher. Dragon rates, Herald rates, first turret rates, they're all way better in the early game than they are right now. But TSM has had the better record this split because their late game has been better. Because they've been able to have the mid to late shot calling to turn things back around. So Clutch having the early game lead is somewhat expected based on how the regular season already went.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I do think, though, with the fact that you have this late game potential on Clutch, with the GP and the Sivir, makes you feel pretty good about it.
All right, we're seeing a possible collapse here around mid. As you just saw before the toggle there for Fog of War, TSM making a couple moves to invade on this top half of the map. Looks like Karma might be the next target as Spica and Lira both head that way.
And Lyra was warded out, but he did actually see because he swept the ward, so he should know they see him.
The flash early on, still going to do some damage towards Damonte. Does get away from the ulti though. One final stun won't do him in, but here comes the re-engage though.
Cody's done.
Is on the flash in, the ult. Spica has no flash away. This should be a kill on Sejuani. They should have the damage. They do indeed get the second kill of the game. 600 gold lead to Clutch.
Yeah, but is this even worth it? You're potentially going to lose your bottom tower now. There's no defense there. Cody Sun TPing to the top side. They had already dissuaded that. You may lose more than a kill's worth of gold here. First turret plate already going down. They are going to try to turn this into a dive.
Charm, knock up, stopwatch going to buy some time. The E afterwards not going to land for much. Vulcan has to be careful. Finally gets the ult off for Aftershock, and it is going to force Zven away, so it survives with the turret, but that is a plate being killed.
Yeah, burning the stopwatch is definitely going to be big, but good job there by Vulcan to get out for Clutch. On the other side, during that tower dive, they do pick up the Rift Herald. That's second turret plate for TSM, though, as they continue to mine gold.
Yeah, so the Rift Herald, they're just going to try now to commit to a turret trade. They are not even going back to bot lane. You can see Vulcan's running mid. They're giving up this bottom tower. They will drop Rift top, so it very likely will be a trade of turrets here. TSM has run out of minions, though, so Clutch potentially could even get first tower.
Oh, Huni taking a lot of damage, though, and a minion superhero there blocks the shot, and Clutch Gaming, first place team in the LCS for getting first turret, once again does it here, but it's basically an equal trade as TSM answers bottom.
Yeah, honestly, a really intelligent way to actually navigate that, though, because once they've committed Cody Sun to the top side, they needed to get more, so grabbing the Rift Herald as a way to grab that first turret instead of sending him back bot to wave clear made a lot of sense. But here this is one more time, Broken Blade ulting in, and you'll see he actually flashes forward for the Q to make sure even if his opponent flashes away, the tether would connect, but Spica just a complete whiff on the ultimate there.
Yeah, I think for Sejuani, Sejuani, you always think that the opponent is going to flash, so maybe hold his ultimate till after he sees the flash. Basically, Spica throws his ultimate out at the exact same time. Damonte is planning a flash under his turret anyway, so they're unable to finish it up there. And then the counter from Lyra, because he's got Predator on Skarner and the teleport in from Cody Sun. But here's round 2.
Meeting of the two mid laners first time in this game as Damonte is quite low. Hit again, one more shot, barely the oldest tank, but a flash chase for Bjergsen gets the 3rd kill for TSM and walks away cleanly.
Yeah, great pickup there from Bjergsen. Now 2-0 has the Gunblade completed. You know how dangerous Akali can be with a lead, and Damonte is certainly very squishy. You can see they've actually moved GP now up to the top side as expected. You know, I had mentioned, you know, when you do get some items and levels, you hit the Triforce, it starts to get harder and harder for Kled because you become somewhat vulnerable to the poke coming out of GP, and you know, if you get too low, you don't actually have the ability to all in.
And one of the biggest things about League of Legends is your power spikes on item completion. So we got to point out some big ones. You mentioned Huni's Trinity Force. We'll take a look at the replay first, as this was where Bjergsen uses his Gunblade, fully completed at this point, by the way. It's so much for Akali. He started out with the extra slow, Spica gets in there. Even though the ultimate is tanked, Bjergsen flashes over Lira to go finish the kill. But I also wanted to point out here for Smoothie on Rakan, a game-changing item has been purchased. He's got the Quicksilver Sash. That is a huge answer to Skarner. A big thing of Skarner trying to cancel out, you know, possible plays from Rakan or punish the Rakan after he goes for the initiation. Now it should free up Smoothie for possible answers.
All right, well, it's going to be an important one then if he can make these plays happen, as TSM has Bjergsen in a brush. He's going to be found out by the Q. They're going to put the tether on him as well. Does manage to jump away just in time. And back into the Shroud he goes, going to stay alive there. But now,
Broken Blade's unspotted still. He's still behind them.
Now he's seen on that one zombie ward, and something's going to mean Clutch needs to move around somewhere a little bit different.
Oh, how's he going to get out? He's split. He's going to recall. I don't think he's got enough time. They're on the hunt. They can't find it. Who will solve the mystery?
Lyra gets the slow, he'll get the stun as well. Broken Blade without flash, might not have the way out. The tether will not land though, and he's still gonna stay safe on this side of the map. As TSM can push in some waves. Lyra gonna pull his teammate in. There's finally the chance at Broken Blade to go down. Finally, the tether comes back across, and 1 or 2 more autos. He might just remount. They gotta be a little bit careful. He's gonna hit the minions. Gotta dodge the Q. Broken Blade, he's gonna find some more auto attacks. That's the tether. He's not dead yet. Oh, he's dead. Damonte gets the kill.
Oh, they finally do take him down, but Bjergsen, meanwhile, is splitting on the top side here, getting some work done as, cue the Benny Hill music. They couldn't hit anything on Broken Blade there, but they will grab a dragon, and this is the second Mountain Dragon here. Really does open up the possibility of Baron rushes. You know, a lot of additional damage there.
All right, second Drake goes over to Clutch. Huni doing the same thing that Bjergsen's doing the other side of the map, but Gangplank tends to do a bit more damage. Triforce done, has that true damage passive, and there is the turret going down. So you can see the game stay 1,800 gold, putting Clutch Gaming ahead with those 2 Mountain Drakes that can definitely pay dividends later on in the game as well.
All right, map really starting to open up too. With the outer turrets starting to fall in fairly quick succession, we might see more instances like the earlier pickoff in the side lane. Akali does transition super well at this stage of the game. Bjergsen, level 11 with 2 kills to his name on that champion, is a very big threat that Clutch have to worry about when they're making these lane assignments right now. Clutch are much stronger as a 5-on-5 team when they are grouped up for extra safety. But Bjergsen definitely has solo playmaking potential.
Yeah, I do think, you know, Clutch can answer for now with the Gangplank, and their 4-1 is also quite strong, because as long as GP is clearing with barrels, you can just assist the team fights with those ultimates, and that is a pretty strong answer. Also interesting to see that it is Titanic Hydra fully completed now for Broken Blade. So, you know, it's more common to just see Tiamat into a Black Cleaver. This will give you more wave clear as well as more potential burst on your 4th auto. A lot of people will actually use that, you know, for the auto resets and remounting a little bit more quickly on Kled. But the lack of CDR sometimes really kind of is detrimental to your playmaking.
140-second cooldown on rank 2 of the ultimate, unmodified by CDR at all in this build. For reference, Huni's is shorter at about 128 with the items he got so far, and an Essence Reaver likely to follow afterwards for max cooldown reduction and barrel ults and everything else all the time.
Going for it.
Vulcan going in front line. Thank you for now. Finds a knock, a lot of damage, and out goes Smoothie. Now the re-engage. Broken Blade has joined the fray as well. Spica though forced to flash backwards. Vulcan just barely alive, pulls back Broken Blade, but dismounts. A soft counter there as he just gets right back out of it.
Yeah, able to escape as multiple TSM members getting away with very low health. Vulcan flashing away, almost having gone down. Another even fight here between these two teams. Just so closely matched in this early game, but a lot of the gold lead really is down to Huni. He has been farming very well. Lyra also with a big gold advantage here, has been power farming in this jungle, and 30 CS up over Spica.
Yeah, 1,300 gold in the jungle matchup specifically, and that is, if you want to kind of concise the game down, about half the gold lead in this match.
And gold is one thing. Levels are about 500 gold of value of stats, not even considering the extra level that you get in skill too.
Yeah.
And Lyra currently extra level fully over Spica. They're gonna run right down, take down the mid turret. That is the last of the outer turrets for TSM that are left standing. Bjergsen though on the Akali in the side lane once again does answer.
Yeah, it feels like TSM, wants to try to play these side lanes very heavily. Broken Blade down in the bottom lane as well. Clearly, they were not looking to answer this 5v5. They did want to just try to pull them apart, and that is going to mean a lot of the game is going to be about playmaking from the TSM solos. Can Broken Blade or Bjergsen pair up with the jungler and find a kill to really delay clutch and slow down these kind of death ball pushes?
Yeah, I think that's the area that you're looking for big plays on the big stage from. These all-star players looking for 1v1 potential. Bjergsen on Akali has a huge advantage in those situations with the burst damage in the kit, plus a QSS of his own to try and keep him safe in a lot of these split push scenarios. If he gets picked off, by a Skarner or a Nautilus coming through, Akali already has a lot of mobility, but now he also can get out of some CC.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be very nice against that Skarner. The only thing it hurts is you're kind of paying that Skarner tax, but potentially you're matching up against GP, where it doesn't really do anything for you, right? And GP now is on Essence Reaver as well as Triforce. That is full CDR. He's never going to run out of mana, and this is a very high AD style of build. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes IE as well later on, and you can just do tremendous amounts of damage.
Yeah, that 1v1 would be all about who can burst the other one. Right now, though, you can see Bjergsen trailing Broken Blade. They're looking for one of these trailing split push plays, a little bit of a bait. And Huni's so low right now with the healing debuff on him that everybody is heading over towards that area of the map. Both teams smelling blood in the water.
And Bjergsen spotted out as Lyra walks by into the jungle as well, so they know how much danger Huni was in a minute ago as he walks back, spams his oranges, tries to heal back up, and he's going to stay safe over their wave clearing. Sitting now as his Ocean Drake spawns in 15 seconds. Cody Sun first to clear the wave, or nearly so, has to respect Zven's feathers. Walks back, stays safe, and here's everything else. Nice. Ult comes in for Zven. No stun yet for the Sejuani. And now into the re-engage, but they have knocked out Smoothie. 1 for 0. There's the pull for round 2 again. Dismounting Broken Blade. That's 2 kills.
Could be Baron
and
on
they
spawn.
both go to Cody Sun.
This is double Mountain Dragon. The Baron's about to spawn in 10 seconds. Huni wasn't even there, and TSM got destroyed in that straight-up fight. They are heading to the Baron. They are looking to put their stamp on this game early on.
Yeah, Smoothie got annihilated 100% to 0. TSM thought they had the advantage with the brush there, but it's a complete turnaround off that Gangplank ultimate. Now 3v5.
And Spica has Smite. Here comes the first engage. Bjergsen buys some space, and Spica not spotted on the way up. I believe he's out on a work, but there's the blue trinket. So now Cody's going him out. The flash for Damonte, pushing him away. They're going to try to burn him down first. Spica will fall. Cody Sun gets a third, and the spike goes through to Lyra. 3 kills and a Baron to Clutch.
Clutch, make no doubt about that one. They really wanted no 50-50s. TSM has had so many games this split where they've come back off the Baron steals, but here is the engage one more time. They look for the flash engage on Zven, but TSM wanted this. 3 men sitting in the brush.
Yeah, their plan was to bait it here, so Zven was waiting that the whole time, but the counter engage goes completely wrong for TSM. You see all of that damage with the Sivir Q as well as Gangplank ultimate. They just 100% to 0 the Rakan. Smoothie wasn't able to lock up anybody, and they get annihilated on the turnaround.
Yeah, the physical damage is so high, and when you are spending 1,300 gold as a support on a QSS, that is not helping you whatsoever against GP ult, against that boomerang blade there. He is so squishy. Despite having the QSS, he just gets exploded. And now Clutch over 5,000 gold ahead here with incredible late game scaling. The IE is done for Cody Sun, and IE is being built up here for the Gangplank. He's 2,000 gold ahead of Bjergsen.
And I like how Damonte is building AP threat on Karma. He's not going to support Karma. Here we go, though, for the invade!
Once again, they're re-engaged. Damonte just taken down instantly. Is this the fight that TSM wanted? They've got another charm. They've got 2 kills. TSM against the Baron buff. Strike back.
And it's Broken Blade on the Kled, flashing over the wall to kill that AP threat. Damonte gets taken out right at the beginning, and TSM buy themselves some time.
Yeah, that is exactly what they needed to do. They couldn't allow Clutch to get set up with vision to get the 5v5 they want. They look for the playmaking, they look for the engage, and they found it.
That was such a critical play for TSM. This is a Baroned up Clutch Gaming that are going to take multiple objectives if you don't make a surprise play. But TSM on the same page, over the wall. It is Broken Blade who flashes over, and Bjergsen following on the Akali to finish up with the damage. They catch Clutch by surprise and put a stop to that Baron power play. This could have been such a bigger win for Clutch. However, TSM are able to cut it off and stem the bleeding.
Yeah, and the timing of that was actually so nice because Damonte had just used his shield on Lyra, expecting if there was an engage, it would be on Lyra who was moving forward. So had no ability to actually protect himself with all of that AP. And is going towards the Ardent Sensor as his next item. So we'll be, going back towards that and potentially seeing a Knife Vow or something like that coming out of Lira, could really allow Cody Sun to shine in these later stages.
And even though they were able to get some of the Baron buffs off of the team, it's still on some of the critical members here. Huni, one of the split pushers, that Gangplank you talked about is being so fed. Brings a lot of damage down to the bomb side. They get one turret, they continue pushing, TSM rotating over, but Clutch are already at the doorstep.
35 seconds of Baron buff on important members still here as the wave clear is attempted by TSM, but you just don't do as much damage to Baron minions right now as once again they walk forward. Barrel's gonna land on 2 big members. Ult comes across as well. TSM forced out in Lira. What does he find his way in? Kiting around, looking for the ulti. Not gonna go for it just yet. No good targets, but it does mean the inhibitor falls.
Yeah, that was beautiful. Huni basically solo won them that Baron, lands 2 barrels in a row, then just drops the ulti on Bjergsen, says, get out.
Look at Bjergsen on the minimap. He is behind the team. TSM playing with fire, though, trying to keep them in range. They don't have no vision.
Cody's out of mana, and Clutch Gaming, they were split up. Now they've concealed that down. As Bjergsen spotted, they put the trinkets down. They will not find the engage. Looks like they're far enough away. Clutch Gaming able to disengage with their benefits and recall it to gold.
Yeah, Clutch just need to stay grouped up as 5, and they can make their escape through the jungle here. They do get the inhibitor. That critical objective has been taken down. Super minions now flooding through the bottom half of the map, and Clutch getting that reset off afterwards allows them to continue to purchase. Now they have the Ardent Sensor as well on Damonte. This damage is through the roof.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty insane. I mean, Cody Sun has his Zeal now, getting very close to his completed 3rd item. That is really where people like to point to Sivir turning on, and with multiple support items being built up to actually cover him, he's set up so well to succeed in this late game, and I mean, he's deathless again. He's had 5 straight deathless games. This could potentially be the 6th.
Smoothie can never be the target there with that Quicksilver Sash. He's happy to be right in front of Lear and tempt him to do anything, and of course he won't. Goodbye, Smoothie, to never be the target just there. As once again, mid lane is being cleared out. Baron spawns a minute and a half. Drake in less than 1. Clutch shove in mid, answered back by TSM, and we reset for the next round of neutral objectives.
And you can see Zven knows this next fight could decide the game. He has actually picked up his potion here, trying to have maximum amount of strength for this next potential team fight. Because with Inhibitor open, you lose one more, Clutch will close this one out.
Yeah, Clutch have been doing so well with their team play. Right now you can see they spread out into the 1-4. Because there are already super minions down on the bottom side, they had Huni go up to the top side of the map. He's pressuring this lane, while the rest of the team then rotates over from mid to meet him there at the last secondary turret that is standing. And with this sort of a collapse, Clutch are able to gain the extra timing here on TSM. TSM only able to rotate defensively through these lanes.
Once again, mid lane shoved down. Clutch have a lot of space to work with. You can see bot lane flooding the base as well, as Broken Blade's the one holding that one up. 30 seconds on Baron. This Drake should be pretty much free, but They're Huni TPing back to the top side first to keep all the lanes pushed in. They're not actually worried about the Ocean Drake yet. It's more the vision control that Clutch are playing for.
Yeah, and I think because that teleport from Huni, that might signal that Clutch are setting up for a Baron bait here. With Baron about to arrive on the map, they know they have all the tools. Skarner and the Nautilus are all that they need for this engage.
Here's the attempt. Going for it right now. They're going to find a big backline stun, knock up on several. They have pulled in Broken Blade. Does he have the way out? He does not. After the Impale wears off, they still put in the damage. No top laner for TSM.
Yeah, straight to Baron. Zven was on that bottom side. Huni had TP'd back after the IE purchase, so he is so much stronger, it feels like, than everyone else in this game. And they are rushing this down. Clutch, though, need to respect the fact that Spica can steal this.
Spica can do it. He can get over the wall. And he does it again. 2 steals across 3 games in his LCS career. He'll be killed, but the golden smite comes through.
Oh my God, that is insane. That's why they put him on the lineup right there. Gets the Baron steal. That Baron going to Clutch is game over, basically. Yeah. That is a game stalling play right there. Because the extra kill, though, Clutch can still push, but this means that the game is not over. TSM still fighting.
Yeah, people just keep 50-50 against TSM and the Baron. It does not work out for you. Clutch were so diligent with their first Baron, turning and stopping Spica. It was a 5v4. They could have easily turned and prevented him from coming in. Instead, they go for the 50-50, and Spica makes them pay.
That's actually insane. All right, first game of playoffs. Look at this. All the pressure, the blood just pumping through his veins. Flashes in. It was 100 early there.
Yep.
Smoothie thought about going in, and he's like, wait a second. Goal has been accomplished. They got the Baron. Turn right around.
It will be remembered.
And 0-4-3, maybe not quite the accurate scoreline for what he just did here in this game, but TSM trying to work their way back up into this one now. The gold difference still 5,000. And you can see the 1,500 gold you get for Baron has already been mostly pushed down by the fact that the kill and all the wave clears come through. And we'll maybe wait this one out. The Ocean Drake, of course, claimed pretty easily. And now looking at the next play to be had is there's still 2 minutes of Baron buff on 3 of TSM.
You know, this really is buying critical time for TSM, though. Zven now on 3 items. He has a massive amount of farm. You know, that has gotten him time to get to this IE SSB for rapid fire setup. You know, Bjergsen is getting closer to Predator, another potential item, but they are looking to try to close in here and push TSM back into their base. I think they want to try to retake that bottom inhibitor first, but we'll see where they do try to head.
I want to point out that Zven did itemize more aggressively. I think that was correct in a losing game to finish your 3rd crit item before QSS, but he has that now. It's been completed. He hasn't been picked off. He's not been the target. Able to ult on reflex every single time.
And Cody Sun now has the Knight's Vow from Lyra, you know, the Ardent Sensor from his Karma, and he is on 3 items. He is deathless, and he is going to be a monstrously strong carry. So in any team fight, TSM must get to Cody Sun at some point.
Shields on Vulcan, gonna frontline here. Here comes the re-engage. Sun's gonna find the backline as well, but no one's dead just yet. Very durable on the front. Smoothie look quite low, and Cody Sun finds the crit. A rampage for the AD carry, and now Lira still in the front line. Finds an Akali though. Zonya's hourglass pop. Here's some buys in space. They can't kill off Lira though. The slows coming though. The bounces, the boomerangs. That's now 3 kills. That's the death now. Clutch Gaming have it. They will assuredly get this 4th kill. They will knock down the base. Clutch Gaming will win game 1 of the quarterfinals.
Clutch Gaming with the team play once again. Protect that cannon, minion! They'll still be able to get it though. The death timers are too long for TSM, and Clutch will take game 1.
Beautiful job by them. It's a 9,000 gold lead to close it out. Team fights made it happen. Baron Steel be damned. Well done, Clutch.
Spica with the highlight Baron Steel to delay it, but this one, let's be honest, was Clutch all the way, playing really, really well, avoiding this Kled into GP matchup very intelligently, flexing their solos around, executing well in team fights, and Cody Sun, 6 straight games without a death.
Yeah.
Can you kill this man?
And then he's on a late game Sivir with an Ardent Sensor support and a beefed up front line that is engaging so effectively for him. That is the dream scenario for an AD carry player, just being late game Sivir with Ardent Sensor on you. Really well played. Also, big shout outs to Huni because the Gangplank is where this team would have fallen apart. If there's an area where TSM were going to pry it open earlier, it would be diving the Gangplank, trying to kill him a lot earlier, you know, in the mid game as well. He avoided a lot of those deaths as well as making big offensive plays too.
Yeah, early game went as expected based on the teams, but the mid to late game cleaned up for Clutch. They played the Baron base generally pretty well, at least got gold leads out of them and closed out with team fights. So now for more on that first win of playoffs, let's throw it over to the State Farm analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Freak, and welcome, Amazing, to the desk. As was mentioned during the LCS countdown, we did snag your prediction leading into the series, which was for TSM 3-1. Can you confirm that?
Yeah.
Great.
You can't change it now with the graphics ran.
So there's the one. No, I'm actually going to come to Crumbs now because you are the lone member of the desk that predicted Clutch Gaming, and here they have snagged up a victory. Was this the way you figured they would do it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, ease of execution from the draft, very obvious. You have two major point and click when you have Nautilus and Skarner, even though the priority of it was a little weird. And then Gangplank for Huni, lots of sense, helps all the side lanes and then scales really well. Priority for Cody and a very reliable carry. But mostly, I was looking at TSM, and TSM just did not look like they had a lot in them. They were trying to make a lot of plays with Spica, but the execution was wrong, and besides that, like, what else did they have going on?
I want to contrast the Champions League points because it's one of the things we talked about in Countdown was that the previous two meetings between these two teams, TSM did come out with the victory and both times piloted a similar style composition with the Gragas from the jungle and strong bot lanes. Mark, do you feel like they stuck with that game plan or did they go ahead and move on to something different?
This is pretty clearly a different game plan.
Okay.
Akali and TF are very different champions.
Yes.
And that was kind of the crux of both these comps in my mind, but I'm fine with the TSM draft. I have no problems with what they elected to do. They used their counter pick well against Huni. It forced a weird lane swap situation where neither team really came out ahead, but it was still, I think, a fine draft for TSM.
All right, fair enough. I think that's where we then get to the execution within the game, and I do want to turn our attention to Spica for the early game because Amazing, with you on the desk, it's really cool to listen to your insights as the game is breaking down. A lot of cases, right decision, wrong execution.
Yeah, I feel like in a lot of cases he was actually in the right spot, but kind of slightly at the wrong time, or he just mechanically mis-executed. For example, here they obviously wanted to force a fight. They had everyone TPing in, so they traded 1-for-1 eventually. But in later plays, especially when we're going to see that later, when, for example, on the top side of the map, he actually just mechanically misplayed with his ultimate and kind of gave CG a lot more space in the game to actually operate and make the comp work. For example, here it's also with the swap that's coming on later, where they get the TP disadvantage on the bot side, and then they basically have the TP top side, and suddenly CG is in a really good spot.
Yeah, I mean, immediately preceding that Rift Herald play is that Whiffed ultimate that you talk about, which nets his own death. And so for Spica, maybe a rough scoreline, to come away from game one, but perhaps there should be an air of confidence around I was in the right place, right time, and that as long as I clean up those edges, I'll be all right.
I love that he got another Baron seal under his belt, but I also have to, we got to understand he must be feeling a ton of pressure to perform here. I mean, just recently you were supposed to be playing with your academy team. You suddenly got plunged out of that one, put into the LCS, replacing two guys that previously didn't make it, that also had to play the academy, and now you have to somehow play playoffs. You didn't even get the regular split to practice. You have only 2 weeks, and you're just 18 years old now. I mean, he's got so much behind him right now that I have to feel for him at least game one.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I mean, obviously, TSM is a team in general that is kind of systematic in best of fives anyway, so judging them by the first game performance is probably not the right thing to do, but Spica, he got the Nash shield, so kind of showed at least some life in him, which is something that TSM direly needs.
Without a doubt. I do want to take a look at one more replay. This in favor of Clutch Gaming. A 2-for-0 in the mid lane, plus their first Baron secure, which will help them close out the match.
I mean, really sick reaction time by Zven to dodge out there, but the counter-engage punish just didn't work out. Spica missed his ult. Smoothie didn't actually lock down Lira, and then the GP ult splits the fight, so when you want to follow up and punish, you just have to run through all this damage, and they had to back out. So it was another situation where TSM was actually in a decent spot, and Zven made a great play to give them that opportunity, but they missed the other two forms of engage.
Right. And then to your point, Crumbs, what I love there is you can very much see the go buttons for Clutch Gaming. Sivir gets thrown on, the Righteous Glory, and Lyra goes for it. Even though he doesn't get the first pull, it's enough to catalyze the fight, and for Clutch, they're all there and they're all committed to that engagement.
Easy breezy for them. You just point, click, and then the fight is, they just get started, whereas TSM had to make sure that it's a mango. You gotta have that.
Mango.
Better energy than that. More energy per mango than pineapple.
Is that a fact?
Yes.
Okay. Crumbs. We are so good at spreading misinformation on this show. I do want to talk about, though, as you brought up, one of the most classic things that's brought up here in North America, TSM in best of fives, and how different an animal it is when you get to the postseason than during the regular season. So yes, one game has put up in favor of Clutch Gaming, but you still have to put 2 more back-to-back. And for TSM, it's about finding the response. And so where does that come? Because in large part, when it is just execution, it's easy to say, let's run it back. But are you looking for anything specific to change with TSM to ensure a Game 2 victory?
Yeah, I would kind of like to see them more actually going for a traditional team comp. I think the Kled in itself is not really working for them, but it's more about how the team fights are being played out. In most cases, you have an AD carry who's probably going to be hyper-scaling, right? So most team fights are actually going to be 4-1 or 5 against 5. So you don't want to have champions that cannot really interact in a 5v5 scenario. You want to have champions like GP that scale really well and kind of change it off in that way. And I think that would help TSM, especially when they continue to play slow as they did this game.
I'd get rid of the GP. That's what I'd love to see you do. You brought up the GP and how good it was.
So remove that from Clutch.
Get it
Just
out.
take it yourself, right?
Yeah.
You can
Or that, yeah.
Because they presumably will have red side. I don't think Clutch will first draft it. So you can actually take the exact same page out of Clutch Gaming and use it yourself.
But you do feel that this series will be determined by the 5v5s and more of the team fighting phase than anything else.
Yeah, unless one of the teams suddenly doesn't abide by the rules anymore. Like in NA especially, we have a meta where we're pushing silence to a certain extent, and then we basically group up. And I think that's something that some teams may not identify or actually realize that that's actually the place that they're following, even though they're playing different champions. So if you abide by the rules, you have to play certain champions. If you don't abide by the rules and you actually try to abuse silence, which TSM actually tried to do with Akali and Kled, you can get away with it. But you have to really execute well in that scenario and make it work.
Exciting start to the series as Clutch came up in Game 1. We'll see if TSM can strike back when we return. We'll see you soon.
Keep in mind, doesn't matter about the enemy team, only matters about ourselves.
Yeah,
facts.
Out they go, TSM running away. TP's coming across over the squad. First blood again for Clutch Gaming. Damonte is quite low, hit again. One more shot, barely the oldest tank, but a flash chase for Bjergsen gets the 3rd kill for TSM. He might just remount, they gotta be a little bit careful. He's gonna hit the minions, gotta dodge the few. Broken blade, he's gonna find some more auto attacks. That's the tether, he's not dead yet. Oh, he's dead.
Rakan's gonna get knocked up. He does. I'm kind of fine. I'm
Wait.
Nice. Clear Solori. Yeah.
Dasher's free.
Dasher's free. Push one way.
The slow's coming out. The bounces, the boomerangs. That's now 3 kills. That's the death knell. Clutch Gaming have it. They will assuredly get this 4th kill. They will knock down the base. Clutch Gaming will win Game 1 of the quarterfinals.
A great product can define the present, but it takes the unprecedented to define the future. To go beyond what's next and change the world of gaming. To make history, break ground, and force the universe to take notice. The world's most powerful and most upgradable gaming laptop with Intel Core processors, the Area 51M, defines the future of gaming.
Congrats, Kim. You got your own car with your own insurance.
No more driving that old hand-me-down.
Did you trade it in?
My parents handed it down to my little brother.
You ready?
Yeah. Surprise! No. Not Beige Betty. You guys can't do this to me. Seriously?
That car is like a rite of passage.
How do you expect me to drive this?
Just turn the key and yeah, it's just
some of this.
It's automatic, dual cup holders.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.